York Lottery. Get out there and play.
The post-game show continues now with tonight's game summary. Indiana wins 125-116. 20-year-old rookie Benedict Mathurin continued a huge start to his NBA career with 32 points off the bench. Kevin Durant scored 26 points and made his presence felt on defense, but Brooklyn still falls to 1-5. Well, this game was a departure for the Nets in terms of opponents. They had previously faced a string of teams that feature some of the biggest names in all of basketball. But the youthful Pacers proved to be a handful as well, coming out on top. Let's hear what Steve Nash has to say about this loss.
Steve, going into tonight's game, we talked about it being important to build on that defense and getting back to your habits and getting to your good spots. How would you just describe the defensive effort and the mindset of the team tonight?
It was a disaster. I mean, how else do you say it? I mean, I didn't see the will, didn't see the desire, or the connectivity necessary to get stops and get rebounds.
Following up on that, I mean, you're usually in here. Two questions very quickly. What was the message that you were imparting to the team after?
That was it. You know, we just got to make a bigger commitment. It's got to mean more, and we got to care more.
And obviously, you've talked repeatedly about, you know, making sure that the team is staying together and not pulling away from the game plan defensively. I mean, are you worried that somehow your message is just simply not getting through? I know you're repeating it. Are you concerned that they're not hearing it?
No, they're hearing it. I mean, they're arguing with each other about missing coverages and the lack of communication out there. So, you know, just too many errors on top of lack of effort at times. And, you know, sometimes you just, it's not even about schemes. It's about fighting, you know, whether it's, you know, any defense, if you're letting a guy run in and grab an offensive rebound unopposed, I mean, it's hard to get stops. You know, they're just going to get 2 or 3 chances at the basket.
Coach, where do you guys go from here?
We have to look deep inside ourselves and what we want to do, what do we want to accomplish. You know, do we want to give up on this because it's been difficult early, or do we want to stay the course and start to build something? You know, we've had a lot of really good days here early in the season, and you know, when we've lost a couple games, and it's shook our mentality hard, and you know, we're not seeing the same competitive spirit, same purpose, and if we don't clean that up, it's not going to get better. That's the only way to get out of difficult positions, is to have character and competitive spirit.
Steve, you talked about the lack of will. I mean, Indiana came in, I think, only 10, 11 guys, no Miles Turner. Do you think some of that maybe was from overlooking them, or did that come from somewhere else?
That's a good question. I mean, anyway, you slice it. You know, when you're 1-4, you got an opportunity to win a basketball game. Offensively, there's not really too many problems. You know, I think we shot 36 from 3, but, you know, it was a night where we had a ton of good looks. Could have been up 15 or more at the half, and we gave them 20 points in the last 4 minutes, 19 points in the last 4 minutes of the half. Just took our foot off the gas, and then their confidence was high. Obviously, they shot it exceptionally well, but you know, there's still got to be a point where you say enough's enough. You know, if you can make threes, but we're going to make it hard on you. We're not going to give you any rebounds. We're not going to lose our matchups in transition so that you're, you know, wide open, lining it up when you've already made 23s in a game.
Steve, you talked about the belief and the will. You're in there every day with them. Do you get the sense that they want to dig down that deep right now?
You know, like I said, there's been so many days where we've challenged them and they've responded. You know, whether it was the Miami game in the preseason, you know, it was the Pelicans game. We came back against Toronto, and then, you know, we had a really good half in Memphis. And, you know, when things don't go our way, we haven't had enough kind of resilience to fight through, and that's what we're seeking right now, is some resilience, some character, and being able to continue to find a way to play for each other and do the little things, the selfless acts that it takes every day to try to get possessions in your favor and to get stops, get rebounds, help your teammates play together offensively. You know, we've obviously seen tons of glimpses, but not enough sustainability, and you know, without that sustainability of effort, that will, you know, it's not going to turn. So we got to make some decisions.
I know you got to watch the tape, but you were standing out there watching it. Why do you think tonight the effort was so poor?
Well, I mean, we're getting it's it's interesting. I mean, like tonight, a lot of their threes were one-on-one threes. Same in Memphis. It's happened to us a little bit. So ability to guard the basketball one-on-one has hurt us. The effort, it's not always effort physically, it's the effort mentally to make sure we're clean on our calls, taking it for granted, not talking to one another, causing confusion, and guys are getting too many good looks. And as you can see what happens when they get confidence, they're lights out. So we dug ourselves too big a hole, and we have to really think hard about how committed we are to doing this.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Well, a very, very candid Steve Nash. He always is, but tonight he used particularly strong words, really not saving back at all. He called the defense nothing but a disaster.
And that's about right, And is really interesting to me is what is the character of this Brooklyn Nets team? Steve Nash talks about it being a lack of effort, lack of intensity. And often when you have these kind of series-like games, they'll play Indiana again on Monday. The team that loses, the day off, you go in and you work on the different schemes that you need to use defensively to have a different outcome. This wasn't about schemes. He mentioned that. This wasn't about schemes. This was simply about effort. It was about communication. It was about intensity. And if you're missing shots, you can't let that affect what you're doing on the defensive end of the floor. And he spoke to it, not only their lack of challenging on some of the three-point shots, but their unwillingness. It's an unwillingness to rebound the basketball. It's an unwillingness to box out. It's not a lack of ability to do so. So really interesting. It'll be interesting again to see this team's character. How do they respond? Because to me, this is all on the players. This is all on the players. This is about effort. It's not about their coach, not being able to get them shots, not about their coach not being able to give them the correct defensive game plan. This one's completely on the players.
And he touched on that a little bit, if we may say, saying that when things don't go their way,